Hey guys, again works there. What ifs? Checking. Redo. Let's see. He's been training. Got a visit from Momo and them. Or was it on the second episode? That wasn't. Well, he got a visit from Momo and them. Momo and Bakugo took those two for a fly. Saphira flies now. He's getting ever so more just deeply enraged by the point of Sir Night-Eye constantly going like, "Hey, wait, you got some? I know you got more information. Give us the information." And Ryu's being like, "Yeah, I see the point. Well, I'm gonna leave you be. This is like the final months between going to UA and now." Deku and Saphira's families have actually been looking for a place for them to just stay at that's close to the school because they're out in the country. It's a while away from the place. And since they already have a place where they really stay, and since Inko is with her parents and such, she has a place to stay. So it'll be like in the anime, the original, I guess. They'll have a nice little apartment that's close to UA and such. They will actually fly. Yeah, they'll just fly since they aren't really considered quirks and such. There's really no laws in place against them because they don't know how to write this. Like, is it like discrimination to forbid them since they are technically a different thing entirely than a quirk user, which is also another reason why the scientists and such are acting the way they are. They're just like, why do their powers even work? Like, it doesn't make sense, is what it's going on in their mind. It's very confusing. Ugh. So, that's also another reason why scientists are like, okay, we can't really find out why they have these abilities, they just have them. Alright, cool. So, as Deku and them have all sorted out that thing, my eyes. 10% of the world's population, 700,000. If it's still 7 billion, wow, 700,000, 10%. Neat. I think that's it. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Oh, forget. Oh. As they're all dealing with their whole thing, they get to a place, and they pretty much have finished their schooling. It's just like they're going there for a couple months in advance. Their school ends much earlier than the other ones. So as they both have their apartment, they both pick their rooms, decorate the rooms. Again, I don't know. Can you get... I think there are places where apartments have predetermined furniture and such. They could have their own, but who knows? Hey, stop yawning. Deku and Saphira, yeah. Since Saphira really has only lived in the country for her life, she's kinda not used to the city. Deku quite literally adapts to his environment really quickly because he used to live here. Live in this city, so yeah. As he continues forward and such with his days, they just go throughout the days. They do a lot of studying because their combat skills are perfected. And I'll cut back to Deku's doing some schoolwork. Yeah, it's good to catch up on things instead of just completely fighting each other. That reminds me of that. He's like, that reminds me of that time when me and Saphira fought. Well, more or less sparred. This was between the months of training. At this point, I believe Deku's 15. So as they're just sort of, Deku's like, Saphira actually gets a question in her head: who wins, Deku or her? And so as this question is asked, they fly off to a secluded spot and such. That way they can have a proper fight without getting interrupted or something. So as Deku, they're deciding like, well, I don't know a really good place where we could fight. He's like, I got it. As they fly off to like an area that doesn't have anyone near it, it's just like really open and such. Ryu even follows them. I don't know if that would make sense. So like then Ryu doesn't follow them. Night Eye has given up on her thing. It's really only that. The only thing they have there for Sir Night Eye is a drone that can fly really, really fast. So as she has her drone just watching them, it's like, as it just chases after them, they get to a part. They're like, so, Bubble Girl? Yeah. Bubble Girl is like, what are they gonna do? So as they, like, Saphira lands, growing to her max height, which I'll say is around 50 feet long, 50 feet long, which is pretty decent. And as Deku grows, he stays much smaller. He stays at 70 feet long. They're thinking, whoa, they're much bigger than they usually are. So as Deku starts throwing out his energy beams, he uses them and they don't hit her, and so they're like, oh, his beams aren't doing that much. Then as a couple seconds pass, several explosions go off where he had shot his laser beams and such. They're like, oh, this is much worse. As Saphira is like dodging left and right and such, sorta not flying but just dodging, she shoots several fireballs and such at Deku. And from the movie, I have not read the books. Let that be known. I have not read the books. I know she has some form of cooling breath. But I'll say she can do a full force, like just like a ice shard or whatever, like a ice blast. As these like just hit Deku, he shrugs them off like they're nothing. He continues on to press forward using his very durable hide and such, and his size and abnormal strength for a dragon, and using his beams and such to just pin her in places. As he just throws her around a bit, she's like, is that all you got? As she stands up, ready to go for a round 2, Deku is just doing this for like over an hour. And Saphira does actually get good hits in every now and then, even at one point getting Bell right in the face with her tail, and even biting on his snout at one point, like getting close and like biting on the back of his neck. He like jumped up and like hit her into the ground, grabbed her with his mouth, and just tossed her. As she's like, you're not even taking me serious. Come on. As she's like breathing very heavily, he's like, oh, very well, Saphira. As he just starts growing even more massive, easily becoming 3 times the size of her. As he takes in very deep breaths, he goes, as he charges up like just a giant thing of blue fire, she immediately flies up in the air, trying to cancel it out with a mixture of her own fire and ice blast. Not canceling it out, they just like slow it down to enough where she can get out. Deku's just not letting up this assault. At one point, he actually even just like, come on, Saphira, You cannot escape me into the skies. Night Eye and Bubble Girl are all watching this. Even Centipede chick is there. Even the Centipede person is there. She's like, whoa. As Deku, as Saphira starts trying to fly up into the sky, making this aerial combat, Deku is essentially a living, breathing artillery piece. Or defense station. He just literally plants his feet in the ground and keeps on firing up the blasts of energy. To a point where she gets so high that it's not the big energy beams can't get her, it's just that she can easily dodge them. So he's like, very well. As he gets his wings to the full size, and his wings are massive, because as far as I know, animal wings have to be more than twice the size. The wingspan have to be more than twice the size of their body to ensure that they can actually get enough lift. So his wings are massive. Over 300 feet across, I believe, maybe even larger. Over 300 feet in length is how his wingspan is. For the simple fact, each wing is about the size of, is over the size of his body. So I'd say 300 and maybe 25. That's adding, I think I said 154 feet. So adding quite a lot. As he starts taking up into the air, with his wings flapping, the trees are bending. That are over 100 yards away. Well, if they were 100 yards away, over 200 to 300 yards away, not 300 yards, to 300 yards to 200 yards away, the trees are starting to shake, things are getting thrown. As he finally lifts off, leaving a giant thing, chasing after Saphira. She's only around less than half the size of Belle. Less than half the size of Belle. So she's flying around trying to use her agility and mobileness to just dodge, bob, and weave. She thinking that she'll have the advantage in this, and she's right. So with her more nimble appearance and such compared to Deku's more tanky, more tank-like style and moving artillery piece, she's more suited to just dodge. But with how hard, how tough he is, she really can't do enough, wear him down over the period of time. Because she can't hurt him. She just has to be slashing and clawing. That's what it takes. So as they're going around, keeping and making sure in this one area, because they know no one's around this area for dozens of miles, so there shouldn't be any problem. As Deku and Saphira continue to battle, at one point, that crazy dragon appears again. Deku, stopping for a second as he's just, hovering in the air, telling Saphira to get, under him. As that dragon that is pretty much only there because of his instincts, he's around a little bit smaller than Belle at full size. It's amazing how this guy has not been killed yet, or even found. He just seems to be wandering around aimlessly. As the male dragon, since he is lost to his instincts, has become more dragon than person, well, you know what it is. As he, comes looking for a mate. And since Saphira is the only female dragon for miles around, he's coming to see in the old dragon ways. This sounds so fucking stupid. He's doing I guess in a way seeing if he can impress her or something, like with his flying, his moves or whatever, and such. Because I know that's a thing, and like for certain birds, they like have to like show off, like with peacocks. And there's another dancing bird I know that like its dancing moves and such, attract females and such. For some reason, just like, wow, he's trying these sort of things. With Deku just sort of like giving out laughs and like snickers, just saying, I think he's trying to win your heart, Saphira. As he's just sort of laughing. Night Eye and Bubble Girl and the Centipede woman see this like, what the... Centipede's like, I think this is some bizarre mating dance? I have no clue. Saphira just like sort of, after hearing that, sort of like flies away and gets behind Belle. Just like, oh gosh. As she hides away, the male sort of becoming angered. But he's come to understand through his animalistic instincts that he could fight Belle. Maybe at the smallest chance he win. But that is severely outclassed by how powerful Belle is. It's like how in anime, like when a person's looking on the super powerful, as he's like doing that, he's flapping his wings, thinking if he could take on Belle. Belle could tell that this guy is sizing him up, so Belle like starts going like more powerful strokes in his wing, and he makes himself look giant, like spreading out his body and such in a way that makes him look giant, baring his teeth and like having and sort of opening his mouth with the sort of blue energy at the ready. To this dragon, Deku sort of looks like the apex predator, or the master, or the lord of dragons himself. So as he like sort of stops this aggressive stance the other one does, it flies off. Sad and alone. But as Belle like says, Saphira, it's time we go home. Who knows how many more of them could be out here. But as long as I stay here, he should be leaving everyone alone. So, come. As like Belle flaps his wing, having Saphira follow him, she's relatively faster than him while he's in that bulky size, considering gravity and just a lot of other factors and such. Like how it's more difficult to move when he's that big. Plus he weighs a ton. So as he's just flying through, and he doesn't do any twirls or anything, lest he fear that Saphira gets blown away and gets chucked down straight to the thing, so he shrinks his size a bit, flying and flying even more. More or less along the size of her, as they just sort of do more twirls and such. Deku at this point is very tired. So he's like, hey Saphira, can I ride, please? I'm very tired. This was a lot of exercise today. And getting in that giant form kinda consumes a lot of energy. That's the drawback, is that, like, depending on how big the size is for a dragon, like, for instance, if one was the size of Godzilla, he can be in there indefinitely. It'd be like a time limit before he goes through all his physical and mental energy for that day. And Belle was in that big form for like an hour or so. An hour or two, as he's like... Plus he was fighting a lot before that. Sort of fighting with Saphira and taking quite a few blasts. So, and his minor healing factor kicked in to deal with those, like, bite marks and such that he had received via her. She's like, sure. As Belle, like, gets small enough to, like, land on her back, he's like, oh. as he's just breathing heavily, she's like, "What's wrong?" Like, "Nothing. Never get tired of this feeling." "What feeling?" "The feeling of being in the sky. It's something way more than just anything else I've ever felt." Oh. As this, like, whole just moment just sort of envelops him. It's just like, she, like, comes to understand this, because she had the same, like, feeling when Deku was flying her. Or she was flying him? It's very confusing. As she was flying Deku and such, she knows a similar feeling. Just being up in the sky. It's just freeing, as he would say. As he starts to feel her head and such, she's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, these feathers and hairs and such are just so soft." As he just sort of leans against it, like sort of hugging her, she's like, What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, you're so smooth. It feels so good." She's like, "Thank you for the compliment." Oh, God. I'm in pain. She's like, "Well, thank you." She's like, "Thanks, Belle, for..." Deku! Damn! Deku, for agreeing to this. I'll say it again. Anytime I say Belle, I mean Deku. God, how hard is it to get out of that mindset? It's like, it's not a Belle what if, it's Deku, 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 Deku. So as she says thanks to Deku for helping her with this whole thing, she had always wondered how powerful was she, and she's come to realization, she's come to think that she really isn't all that powerful. She's like, "I'm not as powerful as others." He's like, "You actually are one of the more powerful ones I have come to across, Saphira. Just because I'm bigger and tougher doesn't make you any weaker than me." She's like, "Really?" "Oh no, just because I have those doesn't make you weaker than me." She's like, "I will drop you off." He's like, No, but with this, you know why I try to stay small, smaller in this size like you?" She's like, "No, it consumes a lot of energy. So if someone ever gets to that, if you're fighting anyone ever, Saphira, get to this, just use your speed and agility to use your..." No. "Use your size and agility to your advantage. They can't harm you if they can't..." God, what is the deal? "They can't harm you or anything if you stay out of their reach. I was barely able to grab you or anything. And we had gone on for a little bit while, and if we had kept on going as we were, Saphira, in a little while, I would have had to just had to call the fight quits. For the simple fact, with your..." That's why, like I said, I tried to stay small so I could be able to catch up with you. So don't think just cause, guys. He's like this giant force of nature. He doesn't have weaknesses. Takes a lot of energy and such, as he's explaining this to her. Those energy blasts, they actually kind of burn my throat. That's why I don't go just constantly. I do short, small bursts The explosions are an after effect. I try to use the beam as little amount as possible. Like I said, it just destroys, it just burns my throat. But it seems you have pretty good control when it comes to that over your ice and fire blast, which is very useful. I have not known many to do that. So do not think of yourself as weak. You are very powerful, and you have very great capabilities when it comes to certain things. They may not be the tankiest or the toughest out of them, but you're one of the. But you focus on your advantages, and you could utterly dominate anyone. She's like, "Thanks, Deku, for making me feel better." He's like, "No problem." As he just lays down on her back. "So, you gonna go to UA with me?" She's like, "Well, why wouldn't I?" "Oh, you just seem to like it out here in the country more. You don't seem the type to like the city." She's like, "Nah, I've always lived out in the country. But since I'm going with you, I think it may be fun and such. Like, come on, you're one of the people I trust the most, Belle." Dang it! Ah, Deku! Get this through your head, skull. It's Deku! Deku! So as she continues on and such with her, and starts complimenting Deku, and that she says she was so terrified when he got kidnapped, it was just a part of her was gone. Like, I felt the same there with you. I was so scared I was never gonna see you again, that I often have nightmares, Saphira. But they aren't like how you're thinking. I think they're more like you would have been there with me during that time. She's like, "Well, what do you mean?" "Saphira, bad things were done. I already told you some of them. They were painful. No anesthesia, no nothing. They literally drill into you. They would literally drill into you and just take it out. You couldn't be asleep. You wouldn't be asleep. You wouldn't be anything. And if you died on the operation table, from what I heard from some of the guards and such, you're taken apart and sold differently. Not sold, but just each part is studied individually. They are messed up. And if I get the chance, I will see their entire operation burn. Beyond anything else, that is what I wish for." So as this is said, Saphira's like, "I understand now. So, and it was nice meeting your friends that time. We're both very nice. Like, you really like them? Thanks. They're like sisters to me." Everyone else was somewhat intimidated, but not really. A lot of people used to like me. They called me Dragon. They just called me Draco or Dragon. Or even Arthur at one point because of Arthur. You know Arthur, the king? His last name, which I believe is Arthur Pendragon, which means Chief of Dragons. Or Dragon Chief or something along those lines. Saphira? Dang it. As that's going, she's like, "Yeah. So, how do you think of me?" She takes her shot. He's like, "Oh, and well, I think you are very important to me." At this point, the drone's just sort of gone away because it's like low battery. Dang it. So Night Eye hasn't heard the whole getting cut up into different little parts and each part tested individually. So she's like, "You are very important to me." She's like, "But in what sense?" He's like, "I don't I mean, do you like me, Belle?" As she just says it, "Because I like you." As she sort of whispers this, he's like, as he tries to reply, he like stutters out of, "Yes, I do." As this like causes her to stop, he's like, "Whoa, hang on, don't just have that." Oh God! As he's like clinging on tighter to her, she's like, "You mean it?" As she like turns her head around, she's like, "Yeah, I mean it. Let's talk face to face." As he like jumps off a bit and transforms to like a nicer size. As they're just sort of talking, he's explaining it to her. At first, it just felt nice having another dragon around, but after a while, it just became something so much more. Like, I don't know how to explain it, alright? She's like, "Oh no, I get it. When I heard there was another dragon, I was ecstatic, to tell you the truth. I was just very nervous, you know? Didn't know how you were gonna act. It was just weird. You know what I mean?" He's like, I understand. So, wanna go on a date sometimes?" As she would say that, he's like, "Don't we technically go on dates every single day?" And she, as he like asked this question, she's like, "You know what? I think we actually kind of do, because they like go like pretty much they technically do just go on dates every day. They go flying together. They even just like spend time together, just like walking around in dragon form, or even just normal form, just like they literally been going on dates for over a year, for like a little like short of a year." So it's just like, that is correct, Belle. Well, see you later, Saphira. As they're getting close to their home, like, "See you later, Saphira." As he like flies in close and just gives her a peck on cheek. She like wigs out a bit. He's like, "Oh, Belle, stop that." As they just both land, he's shrinking down to second degree, so that way he still has his tail. I think it was Saphira. As they land, they walk into the thing. They're like, "Hey, Mom, I'm back." And that'll be the end of that little flashback. Belle's just like, oh. Still difficult to believe that. Well, that was nice. It was nice. As he's just chilling, as he was doing schoolwork, it's just like, it's getting close to time for dinner. So as he like takes a break from watching videos and such of historical, mathematical, psychological, English, grammar, etc., they continue forward. Deku and Saphira just waiting for the day of the UA entrance exam. What time? How long has this been going on? 33 minutes. I'll push it for a little bit longer. As Belle and her just, like, when they get there, they, like, land. They, like, "This will be a good day, right?" "Yeah, it will be, don't worry." She's, like, all nervous. She's like, "Hey, calm down. You will be perfectly fine. You're one of the strongest people I know, Saphira." As they get there, actually, Momo got on recommendation. Bakugo's like, "Hey, Deku." She's like, "Katsuki," as he like brings her in for a hug. "How have you been, Katsuki?" "Yeah, we've been good." "Oh, and Saphira, I didn't know you were gonna be attending school this year. I didn't know you were gonna be attending UA." She's like, "Oh yeah," Belle sort of talked me into it. Belle looks at her like, "You're the one who wanted to come." She's like, "What?" He's like, "Alright, fine. Well, you two go. Let's go." As he's like, "Oh, crap." He's like, give me a second, just gotta tie my shoe. Dang it. Let's see. Tie, bunny ear, wrap around, loop, bunny ear. There we go. Double knot. There we go. As he finishes tying his shoe. At that point, like, he's walking past Uraraka does that. Is the one, like, he nearly trips. Like, oh crap. As he just, like, stretches out his hand and picks her up. Not picks her up, but grabs the back of her, like, bag or whatever she was holding. She's like, what? He's like, you okay? She's like, yeah, sorry. He's like, it's no big deal. Like, is it because I'm trying to imagine what it's like? So it's like, oh, you're trying to dream, are you? Yawn. No. As Deku's just going through his dream and going through the test, he's actually like waiting there and such, just waiting. He gets sat next Katsuki again, and Katsuki and him will actually be in the same area this time, since they really don't really have. They went to school together ages ago, as they would look through, but it's been years since Deku and her went to school and such, so they just sort of allow them to go. They like sort of separate him and Safrina. My lips are dry. Yeah. Weird. Safira, there we go, not Safrina, Safira, and such. She is put in another section. Now, as they're, like, Belle and her are, like, whispering, like, shh, so, how was your thing, and how well do you think you're gonna do test and such? She's like, well, I've been studying a lot and such, so, if you're all wondering why isn't Katsuki, like, not stuck up, self-entitled, and sort of a god complex, and inferiority complex, she's really just had a powerful being that she's known forever, and she does not think she could beat Deku at all. She thinks she has an even chance against Safira. That's merely because of her versatility, her versatility in combat and defense, that she can do a lot as far as she thinks. Like, even with her costume design, it'll be pretty useful and such. I can breathe again for a short period. Dang it, it's gone. As she continues forward, and they like are whispering like, Ida hears this like, yo, why you disrupting the class and such? Katsuki's about to say something, like she's about to say, shut up for as Deku shushes her up, she's like, hey, quiet. He's trying to talk. We are whispering. Stop making a fool of yourself. As he sits down. Now, if y'all want me to give you an explanation on how Deku's personality is, well, he's very kind and gentle-hearted and such, but he does have a time when he takes things into serious mode. Sort of like my other thing, but more so on the idea of seriousness, since he's more mature and such, since of the whole dragon's wisdom and such. They become more mature, like I said. So he's more mature for his age and such, much more. Even more than Ida or Momo. As this happens, they're like, as Deku, like, sort of speaks with authority and such, Ida has, like, a mixed reaction. First, she's like, you're just a student. Why are you still talking like this? And as he continues to speak and such, she's like, why does it feel like I'm being talked down by a teacher. Then after a while, she's like, "All right." She's like, "Yes, sir." It's like, "Good." No, Mr. President Mike. Yes, you may continue, please. I would like to hear the rest about all the pointers and such, especially a 0-pointer. She's like, "Well, thank you, Mr. Midoriya. Ah, wait. Yep, Midoriya. Well, as we continue forward, Mr. Midoriya, and people, they get the whole rundown and they even do the test. There's a physical and such before the test. Deku and Saphira are in tip-top shape. Like sort of Greek statue tip-top shape. I got hair in my mouth. No, not again. Ah, the curse of the hair that's stuck in your mouth. Yeah. As they go on, like Deku's stretching out when he's somewhat transformed. Like when he was in the locker room, he put on his like special shorts and such. He's somewhat transformed and ready to go. He's like, oh, 1, 2, as he's limbering up. Saphira doing relatively the same. She's like getting limbered up, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, as they're all limbered up. He's like, 1, 2, 2, and starts singing like a little hymn to himself about dragon's fire and such. Nope. Give me a second. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of any dragon songs aside from Skyrim, which is Dovahkin Sog Sings and Valden Dovai Volkuf Zaza. It's been a long time since I've heard that song, but I digress. As he continues forward, just humming a nice little song to himself. I'll say this particular song, which I have no anything over, is a very weird one. It's like oh my friends. It's Oh Wonder. It's My Friends by Oh Wonder. That's where I've heard it from and such. So as he goes on to start singing it. I can't remember. Actually, no. It's Ace of Spades by Motorhead. That's a song I like. It seems more fitting. If any of you know Motorhead, good on you. And may Lemmy rest in peace. Pretty sure it was his anniversary maybe a few weeks ago? Or maybe it was a month ago. It's difficult to remember. But as he's singing Ace of Spades to himself, dancing with the high one, dancing with the devil, going with the flow, it's all the same to me, making the guitar sound. I don't agree. All I got is need is the Ace of Spades. As he's just singing that, Ida just finally gets irritated. He's like, "Can you stop singing? Everyone else is trying to focus." He's like, leans in close. No. And Jiro's even there at one point, like hearing his song. You gambling for fools, and I'm trying to remember. I remember I actually listened to this song quite a lot. It's like, forgive me. Let me see. I'm trying to remember the song. I'm gonna have to listen to it later. I really like that song. But it's a very good song with lead vocals by Lemmy. Rest in peace. As he just goes on humming several Motorhead songs, Born to Raise Hell, and several others. I'm trying to remember other names and such, but I'm not good with names. He's just humming all these songs to him. He even sings some Powerwolf and Sabaton. Now, Crusader music. Yep. Ironic. Crusaders. kill dragons and such. So, as he's just singing these songs to him, as he's like getting ready, he's going into third degree at this point. He is absolutely massive. Teachers take note of this. His special skin and such, they got report that from Night Eye that, yeah, I think he's going to UA. Look out for him. He also has a second friend, blue dragon girl named Safi'jiiva. As he's like placing his foot, he's like claws into the ground. His claws aren't like straight, they're like curved, sort of. So as his like claws and such are planted in the ground, he's ready to go. He's like, just give me the order. 3, 2, 1, go. There are no countdowns in a battle. Is as I've heard it said many times before. Not she, takes off. Just sort of that whole lunging left to right, like lunging, not running, but like lunging, using his legs to like throw himself forward, going diagonally to cover more ground. It has also gotten kind of lower, like in like an animal that would go on all fours. He's like going, but it doesn't look weird. It actually looks kind of natural. And he just starts going around destroying not zero pointers, 2, 3, and 1 pointers. At one point, even like ripping off the thing of a 3-pointer and just like causing, through some miracle, he just like finds a way to like not zap it, but cause the rockets go. Because I'm pretty sure that thing actually, one of those robots had rockets. I know that for a fact. I'm pretty sure, at least. Like, there was one that looked like they had rockets. I'm just thinking, what kind of test is this? Was there just a point in the school they're like, how can we test students? Rockets, I agree. I think the rockets are just more or less, I'm not sure if there's even rockets. I'm just pretty sure there is. So as they're like, just going off and just disorientating a bunch of other robots, that you would then take the part he shot them with and just toss it, destroying several 1-pointers as he goes up and tears apart a 2-pointer. He's at like very high. By the end of it, like when the 0-pointer comes out and such, he's just tearing his way across. Safi'jiiva, at this point is just, since she has better control, like I said, she's just shooting fire blast, ice blast, just making robots fall to pieces. Now with Deku, he doesn't use his energy beam at all. He's using nothing but his physical and brute strength to tear his enemies asunder. He doesn't. This may sound similar to Nerd Gigante, but he actually at one point just uses his tail and smashes several 2-pointers, not 0-pointers, 1-pointers apart. Even actually going around covering a few people at one point saying, you need to aim for this spot with your quirk. It will make it very handy there, as several students take his advice and are able to do it. Now, as he continues forward and such, they, like I said, continue forward. Just continuing and continuing until the part, even Uraraka, Ida, and Jiro, all of them like take notice of Deku's ferocity. Like, he's fought plenty of times before. Like, it's built into him. Now, as that gets done, the 0-pointer bursts out of the ground. But here's a twist. It ain't just a giant robot. It's a giant robot shaped like a dragon. Oh. Deku takes one look at this and goes like, I'm breaking that thing in half. So as he goes and decides, like, alright, they want to do that, make a fake dragon as he's, like, getting to the top size he can. Uraraka is about to be crushed. He shoots an energy blast, just completely annihilating. He's like, move! as his voice booms through the city, causing wind and such as he takes his wings, flaps him up, and gets on a giant building. That just, like, two buildings are, like, side by side, that just barely support him. Not barely support him, he actually weighs quite a lot. With all that heavy hide, armor, spikes, bones, and everything, he's well over a few tons. Considering elephants can since elephants and rhinos and such can weigh several tons with how small they are compared to Deku, he weighs a couple dozen tons. As he's just like sort of having a standoff with his dragon, he just opens his mouth as the teachers and them all notice this. He's like, as he takes a deep breath in and just the blue light shows up, he's slightly turning into Godzilla for a minute. Give it a second. He's going as it's a very thin beam. As it just then overall the teachers are like, it didn't do anything. Look at that. After like, wait a second. All Might Deku did not have any incident with the sludge villain and such. It's just been normal. As he charges up that entire buildup of energy, blasted out, cutting straight through that 0-pointer that looks like a dragon. Like, it didn't do anything. As like, hang on a second. As Deku like starts transforming back into like third degree and such, the whole just breaks into thousands and thousands of pieces, with the whole delayed explosion just sending that everywhere and destroying quite a lot of buildings. As they look down this like road, they see all the buildings and such. It took like along that line on each side, they took at the very least 3 buildings or 3 chunks of several buildings. It was just insane, as some of them would put it. Deku's like, oh. As he stands on top of the thing, he gives a roar of victory. Saphira actually doing something very different, but I'll tell you what she does in the next episode. This is getting too long, and I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life, and tell me what y'all think of it.